Today's bundle of joy is 32 great questions to ask when you want to get to know a woman. Most of us don't even care about asking one question anymore because you're garbage. That's why guys are getting their passports and checking out. Like, what incentive do we have to get to know you when just walking up to you and saying hello could get us shot in the head by cops? You don't think very much, or else you wouldn't make lists like this.
Being a woman can be fun and terrifying at the same time. And sometimes you just have like
It's not terrifying. I just don't want to get shot over a woman that has nothing to offer except suffering and misery and hate.
random crushes on people, and you'd like to really get to know them better. I do know that there are a lot of men out there who sort of get stuck in trying to have meaningful conversations with people.
We don't want to have meaningful conversations with you anymore. We just want to be left alone.
And so this video,
I'm also 400 pounds and I live in my parents' basement. And I'm an incel. And my father never hugged me.
intends to highlight top questions you should ask a woman you're trying to get to know. Now, just feel free, make a pick. This is going to go really fast. You don't have to use all these questions, but these are just going to serve as guidelines for making meaningful conversations. So if you're one of those guys who find it very difficult to engage a woman on any kind of platform, this is a video for you. Top questions to ask a woman you're trying to get to know. The conversation starters.
And this lady's name appears to be Jessica, but I kind of put the link in the description anyway. Ooh, and she was established in 1981, which means we are the exact same age. I'm 41 and a half, and she hit the wall 5 or 6 years ago at minimum.
Welcome back. My name is Jessica. I'm a broadcaster. I live in Accra.
What terrible advice could she possibly have?
Ghana, thank you so much for joining me. In this video, I'm going to address top questions you need to ask a woman you're trying to get.
Need is such a strong word because it implies that we have to do it. How many questions do Chad and Tyrone have to ask besides, are you busy and when can you get to my house? Need. You birthing people are a hoot.
To know, and I'm going to jump right in because I have quite a number. So please, I'll take a moment. Grab a pen, grab a paper if you.
Because what she has to say is so important that you need to literally write it down, even though you could just keep rewatching it on YouTube.
Must, and write these down for easy reference.
It would take less effort to rewatch it.
You ready? Okay. Let's jump right in. Let's do it. Number one, what do you do for a living? Now,
I don't care what you do for a living, and most men on this planet don't care what you do for a living because we're natural providers. So what you do for a living couldn't possibly be less important. But it's more important to listen to Gloria Steinem than it is to listen to an actual man. So if what do you do for a living is the first question that he asks, he's either gay or he's a beta, and you're not going to want to date either one of them. So the conversation is already over as far as I'm concerned, especially if that's the first question.
this, of course, will let you get to know the person a little bit better. Number two, what is your passion?
Journalism, traditional women, easy lays, and for some really disturbing reason that nobody's ever been able to explain, cornflakes.
Now, when you ask them questions like this and they do actually have something in mind, trust me, they're going to be blabbing for a very long time because it's something that they're naturally passionate about. And then
No, they're just naturally passionate about blabbering.
you can sort of piggyback on what they say to ask further questions. Number three, what's your dream job? Are you
Hopefully her dream job is to be a stay-at-home mother who doesn't want to get divorced as soon as possible. Wouldn't that be refreshing?
in it or are you planning to actually pursue it at some point? Number four, what are your hobbies?
Unless we share the hobbies, I don't give a shit what your hobbies are.
And that's a no brainer. Everybody likes to go to that. It's a safe place and it's an easy way to keep a conversation going. Number five, what does your ideal weekend look like?
I can't tell you because it's not the 1950s anymore.
See how you can plug in and create more opportunities to.
Oh, wait, I'm answering these questions as if they're supposed to be directed towards me, which they are supposed to be, because women have rendered themselves useless now. So the least you could do is ask us the questions. But I'm so high right now that I'll do both at the same time just because it's easier.
Meet her. Number six, do you live alone?
I don't know if I would ever want to date a woman who lives by herself because it denotes so many horrors that I wouldn't even want to imagine them.
Imagine what you can do with that information, especially if she does. Number seven,
Well, if she lives alone, then she's strong and independent and she's worthless to me, so it doesn't matter.
do you like cooking for yourself and others?
I sure as fuck hope so. Why should my kids starve just because you'd rather go to McDonald's?
A lot of women would love to answer a question like that. She'll probably
But they can't because it's misogynistic and the patriarchy and all that other silly bullshit.
tell you her favorite meal she likes to cook as well. Eight, what's your favorite restaurant you like to go to and why?
If you're traditional, I'll ask you that question. If you're not, I don't give a shit. I don't even know how long John Silver's is still in business, but I would take you there if you're non-traditional before I would take you there if you were traditional. If you're traditional, I'm taking you for the most expensive dinners I can possibly afford.
This will give you ideas on where to take her next. Next question. Nine, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
She would probably say the most expensive house in the most expensive neighborhood in the United States. I personally would rather live in a cabin in Tennessee that has a river running between the cabins so that I could just get lost in my own thoughts and write another book and not have to live in a city filled with people.
Now, answering a question like this could give you some insights on, her personality. She could choose a place that's really, really exciting or tropical, and that
Tropical. Translation: I want to live on a beach in $1 million mansion.
could give you some really deep insights. So pay attention to the kind of answer she gives you. 10. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Why would I want to ask a woman what her favorite movie of all time is? This just shows you how shallow and empty the average American woman is. Well, she's in Jamaica, I think. But this just goes to show you how shallow women are because I haven't heard one deep, meaningful, where do you see us in 20 years kind of question.
That's a super question to ask if you're someone who likes movies yourself. There you go.
This space, it's a sanctuary for building connections, and that's why I wanted you to receive this refresh.
Listen to the genre of movie and see if it's something you can relate to as well. Maybe on your next date, you could catch a movie. 11. What do you consider your greatest success?
Oh, unless it's being a virgin when you meet your husband, I don't care what your greatest success is. Because all a feminist is, in the words of the great Undead Chronic, a feminist is nothing but a woman who failed nature's shit test. And that's absolutely true.
Now, a question like this will give.
But at least you're strong and independent until men are completely dropped out of society and then you got to figure out how to rebuild it by yourself. And all of a sudden, you won't be so strong and independent anymore.
Insights into basically how she's driven, how she's motivated, and what she's been able to achieve so far. Is she a go-getter or a laid-back person? 12. Have you ever voted in a general election?
I hope not, because that's the reason why America is the new Sodom and Gomorrah.
Or are you registered to vote? A question like this could make you know her political inclination.
I would never talk to her again, because her policies are the reason why women are killing themselves every day, because they realized that feminism was a lie when it was already too late, even though men had been telling her that her entire life. No, I don't care. If it was up to me, we would repeal the 19th, because that's the only way we can even save, if it's even possible to save this country, that would be the only way we can even think to begin to start, because logical thought would go into voting instead of emotion.
And also, maybe you can engage her in political conversation.
I do not give a fuck about your political views. I care about how good of a mother you can be to my children.
If that's your thing, and you'll know that she definitely won't shy away from it. She might have an opinion. 13.
I don't care.
What's your favorite food? Is a no-brainer. Chances are, you can find a really good restaurant where that meal is served and have her taste it. She'll thank you for it. 14. What?
No, she won't. She'll just tell me that I think I'm entitled to her body because I bought it for her.
What's the biggest gift you've ever bought yourself? Is she going to talk about makeup or clothes, handbags, shoes? Or is she going to talk about gadgets, a car, a house? In her answer will lie lots of clues. 15. What's been your most embarrassing moment?
We're only about halfway through it. I haven't heard a meaningful question this entire time. Who gives a fuck at all?
If she'll remember, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to tell you. If not, keep it moving really quick. 16. What's your biggest sexual fantasy? Well, depending on the woman you approach, you might want.
Do you have any idea what would happen to a man in America in 2023 if he asked a woman what her favorite sexual fantasy is? We'd be classified as rapists and our lives would be destroyed. You're so fucking clueless. And then you wonder where all the good men are. They're fucking running as far away from you as they possibly can. You lunatic.
To save this particular question for when you get to know her a bit more, just so she doesn't start thinking that you're already trying to get in her knickers. 17. Who's your celebrity crush?
I don't give a fuck about who her celebrity crush is. Why would I want her to have one? And these are the kind of people that are getting fucking YouTube plaques in their backgrounds. Her head is emptier than a box of rocks, and she's probably got 10 million views or 10 million subscribers or wherever the fuck those trophies are for. This is unfucking believable. I feel like I'm in a different world, in a different fucking dimension.
Now you can take a look at whoever she's crushing on and see if you and this person have any kind of similarities. Who knows? That just might give you some insights into the type of men she actually likes. 18. Now, if you want to dig a bit into her past, you can ask a question like, who was your first love? Tell me about that very first kiss.
Why would I care about the first kiss she ever had if it wasn't with me? Why would I care? I can't.
Most women light up when they talk about the men they first fell in love
And that is why we want women who don't have a body count. Because if you don't have a body count, then we don't constantly have to watch you get lost in the thoughts of all the men you would have rather been with.
with.
This lady's absolutely fucking clueless. Holy shit. She's got to be single. There's no way she has a husband at all.
And depending on what the experience was like, they'll be more than open to share. 19. What are you looking for in a partner? Now that's a question you can ask.
That's
That
fair
will
enough.
straight away help you navigate your way to her heart. 20. What do you value in relationships? Once again, this will
Holy shit, she's asking useful questions.
let you get to know her a bit better and see what she places premium on, so you also know how to approach, draw up your strategy, and attack. 21. Are you looking for something serious or casual right now? Now, you know, at any point in time, you always want to know your
If she's looking for something casual, then to the streeteth she belongeth.
stance. Don't leave it to chance. Don't leave that conversation with more questions than you brought back. All right. At any point in time, especially if she tells you she's single, you want to find out, are you open to dating or you still want to just kind of look around? Trust me, she won't be offended. 22.
Yeah, I'm sure she won't.
Big news. Right now at Spectrum Mobile, unlimited is only $29.99 a month, and your next
At a time when everybody is a victim and everything is offensive, I'm sure that she won't get upset about that.
What's your favorite childhood memory? Now, everybody likes to talk about their past, especially when it's favorable. However, once again, this might be a question you'd want to save for some time down the line when your friendship has developed a little bit. Of course, depending on the kind of childhood that she had. Then,
Wait a minute. I'm asking these questions so I can make a friend? What?
may not be the best question for, say, a first date or a second date, but you can certainly write that down for later. 23. Do you have any siblings? Now, you definitely want to ask this question because, well, if she's got a sibling who's younger or older and cuter, they're definitely going to be your type. So if she bounces you, and this sibling is and this sibling is single.
Look at her mother. That's what she will look like when she is her mother's age. If you're cool with that,
then you might still have a chance. 24. What's your relationship like with extended family? Well, since you're talking about family, you might as well go there, because some people are completely removed from their extended family and just like to keep the whole family unit nuclear and tight. Depending on where they come from, it matters,
as if to assume the nuclear family still exists.
Because, especially if you live in Africa, you marry into a family and not an individual. So you'll want to know what her relationship with her extended family is like. 25. Do you have any personal milestones? A question like this, once again, makes you see how ambitious and strategic she is, basically, with her life.
I don't care about how strategic and ambitious she is unless it's strategic and ambitious for the sake of keeping her castle spotless and her princes and princesses well behaved and fed and the women of today are so far removed from traditionalism that some of them are genuinely baffled when you tell them that they need to bring something to a relationship besides their body. But then on the other hand, they'll say, how dare you treat us like objects?
Life and living it. And it gives you an indication of the kind of guy she will expect you to be. 26. Where do you hope to be in the next 5 years? It's a great question. And for someone who is driven, they will always be able to give you a good answer to this one. And even if they don't, it will certainly set them thinking.
Again, good, strong word. because a feminist's idea of success and a man's idea of a woman's success are two completely different things.
But make sure that, of course, you know the answer to that question yourself. 27. Who's your inspiration or what inspires you? Now, to make
Hopefully, I would be her inspiration, and the life that we could build together would be what inspires her.
that's a very straightforward question. 28. Are you religious or spiritual in any way? You want to find out what her religious inclination is, because when it comes to religion, people can be very intolerant. Okay, so for instance, if she's Christian and she's not looking to marry into any other religion, an atheist, a Muslim, or any other religion really, then you just know that this isn't someone you want to shoot your shot with. 29. What do you think is your life's purpose? Now,
Hopefully, to be a wife and a mother.
this is a tricky one. I know some 40-year-old people who still can't answer that question.
That's because they didn't listen to people who cared about them when they were growing up.
But hey, you can throw it in there for good measure. 30. How did your last relationship end? Keep this question for a little later, because
Half of me cares and half of me doesn't, just because I don't want to get stabbed to death after breaking up with her, if that's how her ex-boyfriend died and I didn't know about it.
who knows? It just might be a sore point for her. She might not be over this person.
She might still be on probation for it.
Broaching the subject just might bring painful memories. You
know why men don't want to break up with women in public or in person anymore? It's because we don't want to end up like Travis Alexander or whoever. What the fuck is her name? Whoever Shayna Huber's murdered. That's why. Ryan Poston. We don't want to get shot to death like Ryan Poston for trying to break up with you.
are not trying to resurrect. 31. What was your first impression of me? That's a good way to start. Maybe she saw you across the room and thought you were show off, for instance. It'll be interesting to find out what she actually thought about you the first day she set eyes on you. 32. And finally, is there anything you're wondering about me? Assuming she's been quiet all evening, then that's a great question to ask her.
We had to get 32 questions in as far as what men are supposed to ask before we even bothered to have the woman ask him a question. And then we wonder. And then we wonder.